Yo, I'm in my bedroom. This window behind me you can't see, but it's like all the Blue Ridge Mountains. So, and my bathroom and shower are right across from this window. So, yeah, I don't know who can see things like me coming out of the shower naked, but I don't care. I will not put a curtain on this window. I don't have blinds. I just love the view so much at night. The sky is filled with stars. The moon looks beautiful. Maybe I'll change my mind about that, but you really can't. I've tested it. By the way, I've tested it. I went down to the road and we have so many bushes and beautiful apple trees that you really can't see anything. Maybe my neighbor, Tom, and his wife, I don't know. They haven't said, hey, stop putting on a show. So, but anywho, I just discovered this guy, Mark Lewis, on YouTube. And oh my gosh, he's awesome. And this video was about the 5 things that he implements and discovered that worked for him to keep him fit. I think he's like nearing 50 years old now. And I really love listening to him because the one part, and it's a short video, it's like 10 minutes, 12 minutes. The one part of the video, he talks about how so many people have given him crap over the years of, you know, you're too rigid and don't you think you're over the top with your workouts and your running and your gym and your eating. And he was accused of taking time away from his kids. He said that he was the parent that would like drop his kids off to go practice for their sports and then he would go for a run. This is all stuff that I did when Devin was playing soccer. I would go for runs around the track or I would walk. I was often accused of being too rigid. When I got divorced and we moved to Toms River and we moved into my deceased brother's condo because my dad happened to keep it, I would lock the girls in the house and run the neighborhood. It was an association, so I never went out on the road. It was a half a mile, one loop, and I would get my like 4 or 5 miles in. And I remember people thinking I was the worst mother for doing this. It was always like, what if something happens? Now, mind you, I was running at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm a pretty early riser and I like to get workouts done early if I can. Now working, you know, in restaurants so much, that's hard because there's nights that I get home really late and I need sleep. My body needs to recover. But then I was a sales rep, so my hours were different. And, you know, I got so much crap about that. I remember a friend calling me years and years later and apologizing and saying, like, we used to make fun of you. These were my friends. And she said, like, the one girl who was my best friend would apologize to people because I would cook and bring my own food because my system is so sensitive. I was just becoming more and more sick. No one knew what was wrong with me at one point. It was actually suggested I go to the Mayo Clinic because nobody knew what to do with me. Now I know. That's another video. But, and it's why I'm on the Lions diet. You know, talk about getting crap for your diet. It's like, well, how can you eat red meat all day? Oh, red meat's so bad for you. Says who? The vegans? I haven't met one healthy vegan. Not one. I don't know one healthy vegan. I'm not against veganism. You can eat all the plants in the world. You're still killing something and ingesting it. It still has consciousness. You know, in this whole idea that the animals are like, you know, ruining the environment, please do your research. Not true at all. And most of the meat that I eat is from regenerative farms. Most of it's local. I'm still driving over an hour to go to Greer and get grass-fed meat from a local farm there. There's probably one closer to me in Brevard now. I just haven't discovered it yet. But when I buy from the store, our local health food store, it's regenerative meat. It's such a healthy meat that it actually has beef liver and beef heart in the meat. And I take, you know, beef liver capsules. But anyway, You know, I was always accused of being so extra and excessive. I have an enormous amount of energy. I haven't lately because I did have an autoimmune flare up. But, you know, when I was younger, I would go to the gym for an hour and a half. And then at night I would go run 5-6 miles. And my mother thought I was nuts. I was sent to therapy. I was diagnosed with exercise-induced anorexia because they felt like I was eating and running. I had an appetite, like I eat like a dude, okay? I ate so much more than my mother and sister combined. I ate like my father and my brother. I would go on dates with guys and they would be like, I cannot believe you just housed that. Like, I can eat. There were nights at Tryon at work where the chef would be feeding me like leftover filet mignon or ribeye steak, and then I would order 4 burgers. I mean, I could eat. My appetite's good. I'm not afraid to eat. And I have tweaked the Lion's Diet. It's been 15 months since I've been on it, and I have been able to incorporate other things, but like basic. But anyway, you know, and then over exercising and whatever. And what they didn't understand was how much I needed it. I carry a lot of tension in my body. I'm one of those women that has very strong masculine energy. I need to get things out. I need to balance all of that. I thrived off of vigorous exercise. One story is hilarious. I thought my sister was going to kill me. My cousin was at the University of Miami in med school, and we went to go visit her. And I packed my weights in my suitcase. I mean, when I say when I'm committed to something or someone, I'm freaking all in. Like, I'm balls to the wall. I'm 150% effort. And, you know, so I needed to get my workouts in. So I packed my weights because I have this like naive, cute little thing about me where I don't think certain things through all the time. So I didn't really think that like the weights might break my suitcase. So we land and we're in the airport waiting for our luggage, and all the luggage is going around the conveyor belt. Sometimes I just wanted to sit on it and like hand people their luggage, like, here you go, here you go. Cause I like going in circles, and I always wondered what was back there and what it looked like. Like, what does that look like back there? Am I actually going into the like underbelly of the plane? Anyway, I'm just weird. So my suitcase comes out. I pick it up. It breaks. Underwear, bras, my clothes, the weights roll out. She's like, I can't even with you. Like, why? Why? I'm like, I have to work out. So I think that listening to this guy, it was like, oh my God, yeah, like, I totally get you. And what he was saying was, you cannot listen to these people. He's like, and a lot, you know, and it's hard when it's family. It's really hard when you're getting this feedback from family. And he's like, you know, there were times where, you know, my mom would give me, because he's from maybe New Zealand, or I don't know, he's from another country. He's from the UK. He's from the UK. And, you know, so mum, I love that, M-U-M. And he was saying, you know, if my mom would give me crap or a family member, there was a time where it was like, I want to shut down my YouTube video, or I'm not going to work out as much. And although he's learned to take it easy and give his body more time to recover, and he doesn't feel the need to go balls to the wall all the time, and that's something that I had to learn, he's still very much invested in his wellness. And so what he was saying was like, don't listen to these people. And it's funny when I reflect back to how unhealthy the people were that were saying these things to me. I think a lot of times the people that come at you and tell you that you're so rigid and over the top is just because they're secretly envious, or there's some type of jealousy. They just don't have it in them, and they don't know how to get there. They don't have the oomph, the motivation, the inspiration. You know, I know people who just hate to work out, and it's like, well, don't get mad at me because I'm doing the hard work to stay fit and to stay limber and to, you know, to be strong. And the other message that I loved about this guy, Mark Lewis, is he's nearing 50, and he says he's in the best shape of his life and the fittest he's ever been. And that's always been my goal. And although I don't, because of autoimmune stuff, and, you know, specifically Lyme has really, you know, that mofo is insidious and it's intelligent. And, you know, I've had so many stints and flare-ups, and there was a year that I just couldn't get out of bed and the chronic pain was awful. And I was constantly misdiagnosed, and, you know, I just stopped going to doctors. I mean, I don't even go to doctors anymore. I did seek out alternative medicine, and I did really intense acupuncture treatments for years. I've been practicing homeopathy for 15 years. I can't even use herbs anymore because that is how sensitive my system is. And I've had this since I've been a kid. You know, colic is a 5-letter word for we don't know what the frig is wrong with your baby. And I was that baby. I just always had a sensitive stomach. But I just love listening. And these people they just get me going. They rev me up. They're so inspiring. You know, I say to my kids all the time, if I'm not 80 years old and like rock climbing and hiking and as active as I am, like pull the plug. I can't live like that. Really, I can't. It's just, I need to stay active. You know, I have so many goals and so many dreams. And there's this idea that like, I talk to people that are like, oh, well, I'm 50 now. Like my general manager at the restaurant's like 63 years old. And the way he talks sometimes, I'm just like, stop it. Like, stop. That's so self-limiting, you know? Like, what are you talking about? And this is why I love working around younger people that are like energetic and healthy and vibrant, because sometimes when I'm around people that are in my own age range or older, they're depressing often to be around. That's why I love teaching at Cascades in Greenville. I mean, I was doing like beginner HIIT workouts with people in their 70s. They were motivated. They were driven. They showed up for themselves every fitness class, every yoga class. They wanted to improve. They wanted to get stronger. That is like so inspiring to me, you know? There's things that I haven't even scratched the surface of, like my skill set and the things that I want to learn and apply and do. And I just feel really bad for people who are like, oh, I'm turning 50 and it's over. I'm like, bring 50 on and let's see what I've got. You know, let's see what I can prove to myself and show the world. And like, surround yourself with those people. Really. Like, surround yourself with those people. Those are the people that I want in my circle. But this all like, oh, I'm so tired and I'm so old. Like, of course I get tired, but you know, hiking. I've hiked with people in their 30s who can't go hiking with me because they're so exhausted. And I'm just like, what is happening? So interesting, isn't it? So, you know, you think I'm rigid? Okay. You think I'm over the top? Okay. You think I'm extra and excessive with my diet and being so invested in my emotional well-being? Last time I checked, you are not in my body. You are not standing in my shoes. And, you know, you have to take these things and put them in perspective and look at where it's coming from. Like if I'm talking to somebody who's super fit and really well, and like on a scale of 1 to 10, they're a 15 on their wellness quest, I'm going to listen to that person. I'm going to take advice. But if you're taking advice from the person who's eating fast food every day and not cooking for themselves, because by the way, when you cook for yourself, you're putting your own energy back into your body. Basic microbiotic principle. Playing soft music, you know, not banging the pots and pans, being in an aligned state while you're cooking your food. All my food is cooked for myself, except when I worked at Tryon. It was the only kitchen that I would eat from and let those boys cook my burgers or my steak, because they were really, really good human beings. And I knew they were putting good energy into my food. That's really important. Be very careful eating out at restaurants. They've done studies on this. There's a lot of anger in kitchens. I've worked in a lot of restaurants. I see it all the time. And the energy of that person and their constitution is going into your food, and then you're digesting that. Believe me, it makes a really big difference. But all the things that I've been into for so long, and I was mocked and I was ridiculed, and now look where we are, right? Haven't used a microwave in 20 years. Haven't used it. Refuse. Will not use a microwave. Don't have one? Don't care. Don't have a TV? Don't care. Am I on my phone? Do I use YouTube? I'll probably invest in Netflix again in the winter, maybe, if I want to watch a movie. And I'm not saying I won't go to somebody's house and sit down and watch a movie. I love movies, but I don't need a TV. Have been cooking my own food forever. Was a really big foodie until I hit on the Lions diet and saw some improvement and thought there's something here after years of researching it. You know, but yeah, I've had people who thought I was absolutely banana nuts crazy. And every once in a while, I'll have a glass of red wine. I talked about this in a video, but my body doesn't need it. I don't want it. I don't crave it. On occasion, it's good. If nothing else, I get tired. Like, I'm just like, all right, ready for bed. But I've seen such vast improvements in my life without alcohol. I definitely recommend having a month of sobriety and checking in with yourself and journaling and seeing how you feel, because it really does make a huge difference. I mean, I've talked to people who were drinkers. They weren't alcoholics. They didn't have a problem, but they liked their alcohol and they gave it up. And they're like, I am such a different person and I feel so different. Dr. Amen's a great resource. Amen, as in amen, A-M-E-N. He's a great resource for that. I mentioned him in my last video. I love him because he's done a lot of brain scans on people who drink and what it does to your brain, even 1 or 2 drinks a day or 1 drink a week. And again, I'm not telling anybody not to drink. I don't see an inherent issue with alcohol if you're a responsible person. But this guy, Mark Lewis, I'm like totally in love with him. It just revved me up, and I wanted to talk a little bit about that because people like me often get ridiculed. We're often talked about behind our backs because, you know, it's just like we're such a rigid over the top person. And you have to take that from where it's coming from, because there's a lot of unhealthy people out there who just can't get it together, and it makes them feel better about themselves, I guess, to some degree, talking about people like me who are really out there doing the hard work to stay healthy. I actually just bought an inflatable ice bath. I've been doing cold showers for 2 years. It's been so helpful for me with my autoimmune. You know, I'm a big traditional Chinese medicine fan, even more than Ayurveda, which is the sister science to yoga. I love TCM. I'm getting a certification right now that involves yoga and TCM. And my heart is really with Chinese medicine, and they're very, very big on when you're ill, keeping warm. And it's the one thing that I just don't agree with the TCM principles, because I really thrive with the cold. Cryotherapy is very expensive. And so I'll let you all know how I like this ice bath, the inflatable one, once I get it up and going. My goal is a minute. I'm pretty good with cold showers. But even in the winter with a cold shower, I have a hard time. And then there's a right and wrong way to do the cold shower therapy too, which I can go into in another video if anybody's interested. But I do love my cold showers, and it does help a lot. So yeah, so I just wanted to talk about this. If you're someone like me and you get a lot of shit for being rigid or over the top or extra excessive disciplined, keep going. Doesn't really matter what other people say or what other people think. It matters how you feel and how, you know, what works for you. You know your limits. You know your boundaries. You know how hard and how far you can push your body. You know when you need to rein it back. Yeah, Mark Lewis. Check him out. Lewis, and it's Mark with a K on YouTube. And you'll know him because he's got an accent. He's got that cute little UK accent. Take care, y'all.